I'm a realtor here in Central Florida, and I'm here to talk about what you're gonna do if you're thinking that you're ready to buy a house. Where do you start if you are thinking that you are ready to buy a house, or you really aren't sure? What do you do? Where do you go? Who do you talk to? So for starters, I would always recommend coming to a realtor first. If you know a lender, you can go to a lender first because they're gonna be the ones that pre-approve you. However, they work together. So whichever one you know, go to. If you know a lender, go to a lender. If you know the realtor, go to the realtor. Both of them are gonna have people to refer you to, so whichever one you feel comfortable and trust, go to. Okay, so I'm gonna show what I do whenever I get a buyer. So when you first think you want to buy a house and you call me, what happens? So I have my little buyer folder, and I start with like a couple of questions, little questionnaire. I tried to write it out a little bit to explain kind of what you're looking at. I don't ask financials really. Again, that's up to the lender. I'm just here to kind of get an idea of where you're at and what you're looking for. So for starters, I ask if you have an agent, because you get that a lot where they see you on social media or something, or they don't like their agent anymore, or they don't understand that once you have an agent, that's your agent. So I always like to ask that to see if you know of anybody first before we get too far into the process that you'd rather work with. And then I like to ask, who is the point person? Does one of you work all day and don't really like to text, or etc.? So I like to ask that. Why are you moving? Are you renting? Do you own? What's your rent amount? Are you comfortable with that? If you did say that you own, do you have to sell your house first? Because obviously, that affects the buying process. Let's see, what are your home details now? Like, do you have a 3-bedroom house? Do you like that? Do you still want 3 bedrooms? What do you think that your price range is gonna be? If you haven't talked to a lender yet, this is gonna be a ballpark. What's your time frame to move? Is your lease ending? Are you starting a new job? Do you have to move at a certain time? Are you flexible? I just like to ask this so that we know if there's a time crunch and how fast we need to move, or what the situation is. I also like to ask for desired areas. Do you have a specific town that you want to live in? Do you not really care? Do you have a neighborhood that you really want to be in? Same thing, bedrooms, bathrooms, square foot, garage, features that you like. If anything in your current home, like any features are missing that you really wish you had. How important is your location or outdoors? Any other must-haves, deal breakers? Are you cash? Do you have to finance? Have you already been approved? What's your approval amount? Do you have a lender? Who's your lender? So it's all very basic stuff. I like to have this all in one spot because it makes it a lot easier for me to be able to help you when I have all the information in one spot. And if you said that you don't have a lender, most realtors have preferred lenders that I've worked with, that I normally will send like maybe 3 or something, and you can call them, vet them, decide who you want to use, and they will ask you the more personal financing questions to determine what you qualify for and what your monthly payment can be. So once you talk to a lender and they figure out how much you are approved for, then either you or them would let me know and send me a pre-approval letter, and this would be able to start the process. So I had already asked areas, features, bedrooms, bathrooms, all of that. And now that I have the price from the lender, now I can actually set up a search and send you homes that fit that criteria. Once I start doing that, it'll go to your email. It's from the MLS. This is the service that we use to be able to find. Anyway, the MLS is a service that realtors use. That's where most listings are listed exclusively. Once we go from there, if you see any that you like, we would set up a showing. You'll just let me know if you see any. We'll set up a showing. And on our first showing consultation is when I bring the buyer folder, or usually the first time I meet you, which is sometimes at our showing in person. And the buyer folder is something that I love to give buyers because it definitely makes the process a little bit easier when you can see it in writing. So this is my little folder. Sometimes I put my sticker on it. It has my information and like a couple of, I don't even know if you can see this, but anyway. So this is just home warranty stuff, which I'll go over, and then like a couple pages over here, which I'll go over right now. Okay, so for starters, we have steps to purchasing a home. This is kind of me just outlining and doing very basic of what you're supposed to be expecting. So first, obviously call a realtor, call a lender, get approved, start receiving property updates. Then you're going to view a home. If you want to make an offer, what do we do after that? Negotiation, inspection, home appraisal, insurance, stuff like that, walkthrough, closing, etc. So I kind of just outline this a little bit so you know what to expect and kind of what's going to happen. Next, I include a home buying timeline. This is again just a visual in case you don't like my numbers. And then this just kind of shows you what you're doing. So that way you're not left in the dark again, because some agents don't like to explain what's happening next. And so you're like, you put in an offer and then you don't hear from your agent for like 3 days and you have no idea what's happening. So I like to do all of this. Again, I don't do that. I like to be very on top of it. But so it says like, okay, you put a contract on, negotiation, offer accepted. What's next? Your inspection. Again, I put all this in writing a lot too. So after your offer gets accepted, you get an immediate follow-up email with what are your next steps. The next paper in here is 10 commandments of loan applications. Again, always talk to your loan officer before doing anything, but basically don't buy a car, don't buy furniture, don't change jobs, anything like that. Don't be crazy, because then it'll affect you qualifying for a home and you don't want to lose a home because you wanted a new car right before closing. Wait until after closing. I also do a little pod. Let me see. Like a little pods coupon. So when you are moving, the ones that go in your driveway, it's a little coupon. And then I do some loyalty or like how to work with me, not rules, but just kind of outline of what to do during the process. If you go to an open house, if you want to go look at new construction, you see a sign in the yard of a house that you really like, kind of thing. So it just kind of shows what to do. If you go to an open house, give your agent's name. If you go to new construction, call your agent. Again, this is what your agent's here for. Before you go and do anything, call them, see if they're available. And same with the signs in the yards. If you see anything for sale, call your agent. Again, they have access for this. A lot of times what happens if you're working with someone and an agent doesn't explain this to you and you call off of a sign, a house that you like, and you think you're doing your agent, you're helping them out because you're handling it. Basically what happens is the listing agent then gets that, then you have to kind of work with your listing agent if you don't specify that you have an agent. For sale by owners, agents can help with too. Rules about appointments kind of thing. Driving by, houses, etc., pre-approvals. It's all pretty basic. It just kind of outlines everything. So if you have questions, you can always like go in here and look and kind of know where you're at. And then I also do a little side about home warranties. A lot of agents sometimes don't talk about this very often just because it's like another thing and like no one wants to feel salesy, but I like to include it because from personal experience, the week after I moved into my house, when I bought it, my AC went out and it was not an expense that I had budgeted for, obviously. So I like to recommend it because if you look at like the best coverage plan for a single family home for 1 year, it's $725. So that's not bad. It covers literally everything, like your AC, heating, plumbing, electrical, water heaters, dryers, washers, refrigerators, dishwashers, disposals, ceiling fans, doorbells, literally everything. So anyway, I just include this so that you can review it yourself and find out if you want to, so that if you do get to a point where we want to put in an offer, you already know if you want to do a home warranty or not. So I also put, if we're looking at multiple houses or just one, even I print out the MLS sheet so you have it with you, and I put it in here as well so you can keep track of where we're at and look at everything on your own so you have records. That's basically what I do for buyers from, when you first call me to us starting to look at houses. And then honestly, it's pretty similar after that. Every time we go look at a house, I'll print out the sheet again and show you it's the same kind of process. And then once you find one you like, you put in an offer. And again, that'll be a different video just because that's going to be a little bit different, more in depth. But this is just start to finish of when you talk to me to when we start looking at houses, what to expect, what does a realtor do, what do you have to know, information you need. And it's pretty basic. Honestly, it's not too crazy, but if anyone has any questions or anything I left out or didn't explain well, just let me know and I'll make another little video or answer in the comments. Thanks.